Derek from Masters of Shred. He's going to just plug it up and see what it sounds like. Quad. Might be the most chibbiest thing here at NAMM.
Welcome to Meaningful Times with Friends. We are back with a vengeance, everyone. And I don't know if you noticed, but our knives, our nail files, our letter openers are all out because, God damn it, we are here at the end, the very end. We have the semifinals and finals of the Battle of the Bads. And this is what it's come to. This is what it's brought us. We have come to this point where we just want to slit our fucking wrists, okay? We are done with these bands. This is true, man. So yeah, Jason on location, Nathan from Newark, Ramshackle, Dan. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Why is there's a fifth one here? There's a fifth person here, and I guess we have a Zoom bomber. We've never had a Zoom bomber on our show before. I mean, it's kind of this is no Zoom bomber, everybody. We have a special guest joining the friends and already hitting it off in our little pre-cum chat, if you will. If you know me at all on any level beyond as a comedian, as some form of musician or anything, you might know my friend because I've met this guy through me sending him a demo, cold calling demo through the snail mail in like 1998 or wherever. Had a label that was probably only a few years old at the time called Mortville Records, which has evolved into what is now Mortville Noise. And if you know of a band called Captain Three Leg, this is the mastermind behind Captain Three Leg, Mortville Noise. This is Andy Kettle, or AKA Mortville, Andy, AKA Andy Mortville, AKA Mort, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, we have invited Andy to join us so that we have no ties in any of these matchups for Battle of the Bads. Andy is of our generation. He's pretty much in the same age group. I've been friends with Andy for a long time, and talking to Andy is just like talking to my other friends I grew up with. I feel like I've grown up with Andy. So welcome, Andy Kettle.
Hi, it's an honor to be here. I'm happy to break some ties today and to slit some fucking throats. I'm not going to do that, but yeah, I'm happy to be here. So thanks for the invite.
Sweet. Thanks for being here, man. And also I want to thank all the friends. We kind of got together a little bit last minute to help fit Andy's schedule because Andy's been doing a lot of new things now that he's had a new lease on life. He dumped some long over just whatever baggage, dropped a lot of baggage a little while ago, and in doing so, he's joining us because he never did podcasts before.
Never.
And also, if you might notice, Andy, I have a good friend in the comedy world, Nina G. Anybody who knows me from comedy knows that I work a lot with Nina G, who is the Bay Area's only female stuttering stand-up comic. She wrote a book called Stutter Interrupted. Highly recommend people pick it up. And one of the people that connected with that, and I had no idea at the time because I've only known Andy through mail and through the internet when we reconnected in the early 2011 or whatever, when we found each other again.
Yeah.
Andy also stutters, and so it has an apparent stutter. So if you see that in this episode and all that kind of shit, you know what? Just fucking deal with it. It's cool. Stuttering's great. This is what I always say, and I'll say the same thing for Andy. What can I say about Andy that wouldn't take him longer to say? That's basically what I love.
Yeah,
I've learned to love stutterers. So cool.
stuttering's fucking rad. So
It is.
you should try it. It's neat. So
Forces people to listen, and we don't finish sentences. You know, you let them stutter and wait patiently for them to finish.
Right. That's not going to be a problem today because I'm calm and relaxed around you cats. So it's going to be cool. So
yeah, like I said, you fit right in. Feels like you just another us, and we're all curmudgeon fucking assholes with strong opinions. So all right, welcome. And do we have any apologies up top? Normally we stop our I didn't field any apologies. Anybody have anything they need to get off their chest? Apology-wise. I know Ramshackle just bounced. I don't know where the hell Ramshackle went, but
how can you tell? Oh, there he is.
There he is. Yeah. Look at that. You see how he just appeared like that? Like magic powers? Holy shit, man.
When we were wrapping up last time, he sort of had an apology he wanted to drop, but you cut him off and said save it for the next time around. So I feel like he did have something.
Me cut him off? I don't ever see that happening. I don't do those things.
But yeah, I just don't feel like this is a safe space anymore. So I'm just gonna hang back.
Really?
Nice. Made you unsafe. Made you feel unsafe.
That's mostly just Dave.
Oh, you might notice I'm very woke. I'm super woke, as I'm told. You might notice also Andy's going to be lifting right there. That's because Andy's part of a new kind of team, I guess, if you will, called the Swole Patrol.
It's the fucking Swole Patrol. Back for round 3. What the fuck are you doing with your lives?
What are you doing? Laying in bed? Like a fucking baby? Laying in bed getting your fucking baby sleep? Is that what you're doing? Fucking baby. Fucking crybaby loser.
Before you lift your coffee cup in the morning, you need to be lifting fucking weights. You need to get up and fucking put it up. The sun isn't even up yet. I'm out here getting in miles. It's just me and the dead out here in the cemetery at 6:30 in the morning. And unlike the dead, I've got fucking guts. And guts are something you're sorely lacking. You're at fucking home, that's where you are. Being a lazy piece of shit. I'll be right back. I gotta go kick Work's ass now. Work's ass is kicked. Am I going home? No, I'm walking again. I'm not in fucking rest mode yet.
Look at this fucking shit.
Muscles don't grow while you sit on the couch. And there's no fucking gains if you don't fucking train.
Just fucking look at that shit. 999. 1,000.
Now I can fucking rest.
That being said, as was stated in Pulp Fiction, let's not start sucking each other's dicks just yet. We have a long episode to get to because we have traveled, if you will, one might want to make a Lord of the Rings analogy that we've gone through, walked through all of Middle Earth, of hell, of the battle of the bads, to get this one ring of terrible and throw it into the fires of Mount Shit. So hopefully it can melt back into it. And that is the Battle of the Bads, everybody. Any of you who followed our show, which is like any number of you between 100 and 200 views of people, followed us since, I don't remember when we started it, probably like last October. But Battle of the Bads, and we always let the mastermind, the thought, I don't want to say mastermind, I don't know what to call it. The culprit, the fucking the
guilty party,
the turd cutter, where this came from. Shout out to Sean Boyles, rest in peace. This is the work of Ramshackle Dan. This was his idea. So Ramshackle, you want to give people another summary in case they've never watched again, any of these people that don't watch our show, and just check out these first off.
So what was a seemingly good, I will take full accountability for coming up with this horrible idea. So I was like, we talk a lot of shit to each other and we're all music nerds. So it was like, hey, why don't we come up with a NCAA basketball tournament style single elimination head-to-head battle of the worst bands of all time? And clearly we're Gen X, like late Gen X. And so obviously the selection is going to be skewed away from things that just came out in the last 5 years. But I thought, hey, that'd be fun. And then what I didn't realize was you'd have to listen to 32 bands that you hate, and some of them over and over and over again. And what was amazing, I know we mention this every time, but it's worth repeating. It's just like it actually took a toll on our relationship because we're all in such a bad mood all the time. Like we were just sniping at each other, and it was becoming. And it's not because any of us really liked any of the bands. It was just the energy that was being put out by that bad music was infecting all of our moods and morales. And so it got pretty gnarly until we realized it. Probably way too late, but the damage was reversed, and we're all still friends. So we're almost. The light is at the end of the. We are at the end of the tunnel. There's more than light. It's the gaping asshole of freedom waiting for us to penetrate. So with that, Dave, I'll kick it back to you.
500 yards of shit, just like Shawshank Redemption, you know, and we're at the final 10 yards. So we have the Fuck My Life 4. That's what I figured these last 4 bands, the FML 4 of our Battle of the Bads. And so 2 matchups, and we will do those 2 matchups, and then whatever those 2 bands, we will do the finals in this episode. And so our first matchup of the Fuck My Life 4, one was a strong contender that we figured would be coming this far. The other, I thought they might have been knocked out. I think they actually only benefited from Ramshackle Dan was in charge of putting the matchups together, and then asked. I guess I didn't pay attention, and I guess I got to read everything, every detail. But there was a timeline in terms of giving feedback to adjusting any matchups, and the other group benefited highly from a matchup of going up against Death Grips, when Death Grips probably should have been in another matchup against Consolidated. So early on, first round, one terrible group that should have had a chance to go further in the Battle of the Bads was Death Grips, but they got knocked out by New Kids on the Block early on. And so this is New Kids on the Block versus the Grateful Dead. So that's our first matchup.
Who's the guy in front that looks like Kenny Loggins had a baby with an almond brother?
Fucking weird, dude. I'm pretty sure that's Andy would know.
Werewolf.
Yes, yeah, it's the werewolf. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, look at how fucking hard the Grateful Dead look next to the fucking New Kids on the block. They look hard as fuck, you know. Like they should have knives out, but
damn right. So that's our first matchup. It's a pretty strong one, but I still feel that, you know, Limp Bizkit had a fairer shot at the Dead. So let's go around and see what we got here.
I don't know what really there is left to say at this point other than to air grievances, because this is fucking dumb right here. Like, we had so many bands that we entered, and some of them that didn't make the cut. It kind of pisses me off. Like, I entered Kiss. Like, they sucked with their boogie woogie 70s rock, and all they did was wear fucking makeup as a gimmick. Kiss versus Grateful Dead, epic contest of bands that suck. Pearl Jam didn't make this fucking contest. Pearl Jam versus Grateful Dead, epic contest of bands that suck. The New Kids on the Block aren't a band. They're a prefab group. They didn't write their own music. Like, this is like the Grateful Dead. As much as I hate them, I recognize that they're this revered band, especially here in the Bay Area. But this is an entirely uneven matchup. Like, the New Kids on the Block are a joke. Like, I can't believe they made it this far. Obviously, I'm going with Grateful Dead in this.
But I love everything you said should have been like the reason why to vote, because it's the Battle of the Bads. Which one's worse? And you're almost.
Oh, I acknowledge that the New Kids music is bad, but the Grateful Dead's just the whole package is there, baby. They're the whole thing.
Part of what inspired this was an early rant of yours about the Grateful Dead in general. So I think that had a great.
And I do appreciate how it turned into a personal attack on my selection process. But
that was
months and months. Like I said, the airing of the grievances at this point, because I don't know what else there is to say.
I'm saying you previous episode you mentioned that Death Grip should have gone further. I'm like that. I suggested. Sorry, it was not within the time frame that I was unaware of. That we could have. All it would have taken was a simple switching of this, and there was a lot of blowback.
You do realize none of us are having conversations about Death Grips other than you. So we're talking about
bullshit.
No, literally, dude. Literally, you just talked about
in our previous episodes of Death Grips being brought up. So
anyways,
No,
Nathan's
if
fucking-
Death Grips had stayed in this, it would have destroyed the show, and none of us would talk anymore. So I'm kind of grateful they're out of the
would
thing.
have
To
been
be honest with you.
guillotine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
I'm as confused by Death Grips as Nathan was by that Moneyball Hobbit meme. I'm just watching, I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? So first of all, they kind of, this is like anything else with the Grateful Dead. You look at that picture, like they look kind of young and tough, and then you're looking at Bob Weir, which I just learned who that is. But then you just kind of look a little bit back, and then there's Jerry Garcia. Then there's a guy on the right who looks like someone you wouldn't want anywhere near your children. And then somehow 1990s like fucking Microsoft nerd. And so it's like anything else, the Grateful Dead, it's like, oh, it's a cool name. I bet their music's good. And you listen to it like, oh, this is not good. And then it's like, oh, I mean, this isn't that bad. And then you realize the song's been going on for 19 minutes and 43 seconds. And so it's like, that picture is a great picture, Dave, because, and the guy's doing bunny ears. I just fucking realized he's doing bunny ears. The longer I look at this, the shittier the picture gets. Like, I didn't even notice that fucker with the fucking sunglasses and the fucking bunny ears. Dude, they might be like, I don't know. They're just like this self-perpetuating whack machine. I agree with Nathan on New Kids on the Block. Again, like everything Nathan said, I completely agree with. As someone who does play instruments, you know, it's hard for me to side with a fucking synth pop, not even synth pop, just pop manufactured studio band. But I'll say this, like if I had to listen to a song by either of them, I would choose to listen to New Kids on the Block song. Touch of Grey isn't terrible, and it's also mercifully short, at least the one they cut for radio consumption. But everything else is just, it actually upsets me. The longer the song goes on, the longer I look at them, I'm starting to get like agitated. I look at New Kids on the Block, I remember some stupid shit, and we were all kids. As bad as it is, and as epic as it is, and the fact that we're still touring. In fact, that's the other fucked up thing, right? So you take this thing, like, okay, well, they're still not stopping. New Kids on the Block is still going on tour this year. The Grateful Dead has immortalized themselves into holograms, so they'll never, ever, 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 ever stop touring. So it's close. I'm gonna have to go with the Grateful Dead to move on, because they're just the longer I talk about it, I didn't have anything to think about, because to Nathan's point, we've already talked about it. But just talking about them, I'm starting to get agitated. So New Kids on the Block is terrible, but Grateful Dead are a Hall of Fame level awful.
All right, so that's 2 Grateful Deads. How about we let our guest chime in here? Because he might have some differing opinions. Let's hear. Andy.
Yeah, I guess I do. Yeah. So just recently, last year, my friend Colin Tavi, hi Colin, he challenged me to listen through all of the Grateful Dead studio albums, and I did. And I quickly found that I didn't mind them. I didn't enjoy them, but it was good background, and I was able to listen to them pretty easily. I was never annoyed by them. I did enjoy some of the live recordings more, but I made it through all of the studio stuff, and it didn't bother me at all. Recently, I don't know if you know my background, but I started as a punk and then listened to thrash metal and got like way more into extreme music, to the point where it's just noise and garbage, you know. So once you hit that fucking wall, I hit into jazz after that. So like jazz is like after that you can explore and do whatever you want within that, you know. And for me, the Grateful Dead are similar in that aspect, where, you know, they touch on themes and then they can just explore and go off as long as they want to. So that doesn't bother me. I'm already used to listening to songs that go on for half an hour, you know. So when I revisited the New Kids on the Block for the first time since middle school, I guess, like, it was painfully hard for me to listen to a greatest hits album. I made it through, but it took me like 4 sections that day, you know, and I was flooded back with how cheesy it was, and all the fucking fashion and shit. And don't get me wrong, the hippie fashion that I endured in the 1990s was there also, and it was equal. I'm wearing a fucking beanie now, so not because I'm a hippie or anything, but yeah, the fashion was dumb. The people who liked them were all fucking dumb. People who liked the Grateful Dead were mostly dumb. But as far as music goes, I don't have a problem listening to them. The Grateful Dead aren't something I love, but I could tolerate it. And the New Kids on the Block are not. The Grateful Dead never stopping touring and keep going makes sense. The New Kids on the Block doing a new tour in 2024 doesn't make fucking sense. You know, it's a cash grab thing to grab for nostalgia, and I don't have that same vibe from the Grateful Dead fans. These are people who appreciate music for whatever reason. May not be the reason that you and I enjoy it, but they stuck with them this whole time. And so, fans aside, fashion aside sounds like the name of a thrash band. I should write that down. I think that the New Kids on the Block are just so painfully dated that I could not enjoy them. And I don't have any nostalgia back to those times that make me think like, oh, this is good. I remember enjoying this, you know. So as far as the worst band of the two, the New Kids on the Block take it, I think.
And the stutter even fucking added some accent to that shit right there, man. I put some stank on that fucking.
I think we all stutter when we talk about this horrible shit.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted Andy here. All right. Because Andy, that was a fucking beautiful, articulate counterpoint.
I'm just glad that Andy's really smart, inspirational, and funny, because I knew whoever you're dragging in here was just to like load the deck. Because if you watch the last episode of Battle of the Bads, like Dave's like so upset that Nathan and I are insisting on voting for the Grateful Dead that I knew he was going to bring in somebody who was. I didn't even ask. I knew what was going on. I'm just glad
you're bringing it Fox News here, buddy. Because I could care
less.
No,
dude, that's more Alex Jones.
We flipped a coin. Respect. We flipped a coin, as was again. We let the universe decide, and you got so adamant about it. It's not. It really doesn't make any difference. I'm gonna go ahead and do my we can let Jay be the deciding vote.
Conspiracy theorist.
And what's funny is I thought this would be a unanimous decision, and it is not. And this is not. No one's stacking any deck or anything.
My God.
Similarly to what Andy just described, there's a reason why elevator music is elevator music. It's that you can ride in an elevator and it doesn't bother you. You're just sitting in there listening to benign fucking shit. And all that Grateful Dead is just hippie elevator music. And it's not that I like it or even I'd never put on the Grateful Dead. But if you did as background music, yeah, it's okay. New Kids on the Block does genuinely great on the ears. It also, as was mentioned before, they're not a band. They shouldn't have even been in this thing. They're just dancing. Fucking Milli Vanilli belongs in this competition just as much as New Kids on the Block does, and they didn't even fucking sing. Based on that knowledge, and that, you want to take that as an attack to the gatekeeper of our bads. Well, you can take that as you will. Point being, we're here, we're at this point, and you new kids have another vote for them. So they are worse than the Grateful Dead.
You called the Grateful Dead fucking elevator music, but it's really just boomer jazz, you know?
There you go. And, another term, boomer jazz. All right. Jason, this is rare that it's come down to you, but.
I think, I'm still pissed off about that coin flip, because I still think Limp Bizkit is worse than Grateful Dead. So I'm going New Kids on the Block because
look how happy he is. So, like I cheated, I loaded the deck, and now I'm gonna celebrate like a little kid who just who beat Madden on fucking easy arcade mode. Okay. Everyone gets a trophy, Dave. There's your fucking politics in a fucking nutshell.
Well, to be fair, Dave didn't know my opinion of the Grateful Dead at all. I never posted or talked about my fucking Grateful Dead experience. So
true. This is why we got Ramshackle Trump in here, who's just gonna fucking make whatever statements he
fake
wants
news
to. In an upset,
more conspiracies are true than not.
This is the major upset because almost everybody predicted that the Grateful Dead would go to the finals, and they are not.
I will say this though. I did notice the fucking skull and crossbones on his hoodie.
See,
so that's
Skull and
ridiculous.
Bones are behind this. Yes, Skull and Bones has influence over the meaningful times with friends and the outcomes of
the fucking bandana.
Wait a minute. So Jason, your entire reason for going with the New Kids is just based on spite because Limp Bizkit didn't move on? Are we correct in that?
No, it's not just that. So also, look, I look at it this way. So Grateful Dead, as much as I dislike what they're doing, they at least have some fucking integrity because they did their thing. They came up with the thing, they did the thing, they got together. People dug it, whatever. That's fine. New Kids on the Block were just some kids that they fucking threw together to like make some money and like make girls wet. That's all they were about. Grateful Dead at least had some fucking integrity in what they're doing. So I'm going to say New Kids on the Block are worse also because of that. Not just because I'm pissed off that Grateful Dead won on a coin toss, but because I genuinely hate the Grateful Dead less than anything that they're going up against at this point.
And that's fair. And I think to go full like Fox News conspiracy theory, right? And this is the problem with a direct democracy in and of itself, is that everyone votes for a different reason. And I'll admit, like, Andy is probably more educated than the most of us on the Grateful Dead, having listened to that much recently. And that's the thing, when you vote for any reason, like, you could research your votes, and then some other person, some jackass like me who just wants to talk shit, nullifies your vote, right? And then the other thing, this goes to the Fox conspiracy, right? So Dave, let's call him the Democratic National Party, wasn't liking the outcome of the election. So he decided to human traffic somebody in illegally and give them the right to vote. That's called the Great Replacement theory. And and look at it playing out just like Fox News said. Boom.
I'm the result of Dave's open border, so
exactly, right? All coming true.
Yep.
Whatever. We're moving on. New Kids makes it to the finals of the Bads, which is incredible. But yes, and by the way, too, not just the New Kids making girls wet. In case you haven't noticed, ladies, Swole Patrol right over there. See the yeah. Check it out. He busted out the tricep there for a minute. So
right for a minute, yeah.
Take it easy.
I wanted the weights to be in frame the whole time, so I didn't want to do any of that stuff, you know.
Take it easy, Andy. We got climate change making the world going underwater. We don't need women's wetness fucking adding to that. So, all right.
I do. I get as much women wetness as I can get. So
keep it in Iowa, buddy. All right.
Yeah.
So up next,
if only.
Up next, we have our second round of these Fuck My Life 4, and that is these two. Okay, fair. Probably, you know, I think all of us didn't even know of these bands or some of us didn't know too much about them or whatever until the research behind it. But seeing them here, it's not a surprise to me, and it just interesting. I think it's kind of more of the matchups. Nothing against the matchups. This is not nobody's attacking your matchups here, Ramshackle, on the second half. This is Imagine Dragons versus Mumford & Sons, which actually sounds like a tour that should probably go on with these two. You know, the tour of the Bad. Imagine Dragons we've discussed, and you know the thing about Imagine Dragons that I've consistently said is that they've somehow managed to be a pop phenomenon that has made it into every aspect of commercial music, where their songs sound half written. Like it's just rhythms and vocals, and they forgot that it sounds like they might have had like a full band being played, and then they were like, let's press mute on this, press mute on this. Oh, that's the song now.
Yeah.
So that's just what they make me think of, and then they just turn into these commercial jingles that just get stuck in your head, and it's like, yeah, okay, now I want to buy a truck, or now I want to go to a Arby's or something after listening to their music. Now, Mumford & Sons are equally as terrible. We were talking about, these are like the yuppie Grateful Dead in many respects, or the current, techie Grateful Dead. This is a tough one. This is really a tough one because both of their musics I'm not interested in, and so I guess and they do generate a level of like irritability in hearing both. But if there is one that I would say that when I sit and put them on and listen to it, you have to go back to, okay, which one can I tolerate a little bit more than the other? And in terms of listening, I can tolerate Mumford & Sons the slightest bit more than Imagine Dragons. That Imagine Dragons just, if anything, they literally, if they were on a radio station, I would instantly move to turn it off. Mumford & Sons, I might not notice right away until after a little bit of, I will wait for you. And they can play actual instruments. I think that's some of the deception. My biggest beef with them is that they would have a drum set up and have no drums. So that was only my biggest beef as a band live. But so my vote's Imagine Dragons.
I don't know either of these bands at all. I've never heard either of them until this fucking until I was asked to participate here. This pairing, this matching is very good because they're both terrible, like equally, I think. And Imagine Dragons at least sound of their time. They sound like a product of the technology that exists now, you know? And I kind of favor them slightly because they sound like a band that should exist in this era, you know? They sound like people who are interested in exploring technology and stuff, you know? And they want to write current fucking music. Now, Mumford and Sons with the whole fucking singy banjo-y shit, like the callback to simpler days and shit, while they're dressed like fucking hipsters like this, doesn't make any sense, you know? They're playing like roots fucking music, but like for who, you know? The people they're trying to appeal to don't listen to that kind of shit. So musically, I would probably enjoy the Mumford and Sons more, but they're so irritating in that they don't play within their own generation, you know? Remember that fucking "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" fucking movie? All these roots bands popped up and shit, and this seems like a more modern holdover of that, you know? Like they kind of heard that and then tucked in the back of their brain, like, we're gonna pull this back out and see if we can still beat that dead horse, you know? And I don't like that, you know? It doesn't sound fucking genuine. It doesn't sound like they're really into that stuff, and if they are, they're into to like get chicks, you know? And I don't think that's working terribly well. Imagine Dragons just seem like four douchebags who like want to write current fucking music, you know? And I don't think either of them are good. I would have a harder time listening to Imagine Dragons and enjoying it, but I don't know. If I'm going by not music alone, I think Mumford and Sons are a more irritating band, and I don't like them. So
See, you see that fucking dickhead Dan? He differed with opinions, but I enjoy the logic. Okay, that was thoroughly articulate, and I understand that. It is like Imagine Dragons and Mumford and Sons are the same band of like making choices. One tries to be today, the other tries to the gimmick of the past for it. And you made a point that was made earlier when Mumford and Sons, I believe it was Jason who said the very same thing about the "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou."
Basically, everything that Andy said is I am fully on board with. So I'm also going to say Mumford and Sons because I just find them much more deeply irritating. I really don't like Imagine Dragons. When I first heard when people talked about them, when I first heard people talking about them, in my mind they were like some prog metal band, you know?
yeah,
So like I had some expectation, and then when I finally heard a song, I heard that Thunder song, and I was like, who the fuck is doing this cheesy ass shit? It's like it was very. I mean, it's very of the time. It's very today, you know, to be using samples. But then to do it like that was just so stupid. But I just find it dumb. Whereas I find Mumford and Sons like offensive because they just like the whole, like you said, it reminds me of George Clooney like earnestly lip syncing on stage at the end of that fucking "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" movie, which is a good movie. I enjoyed the movie, but the presentation of the music was downright abominable. I really hated it. And so, yeah, Mumford and Sons. And plus the name, Mumford and Sons. I'm so sick of the fucking, you know, restaurants, you know, like this plus that and this and that and like nail salons, steel and lacquer. You know, it's like fuck that shit. Fuck that whole naming convention, and fuck the fact that there's no Mumford and there's no Son. You know, fuck that.
Yeah. All right, it's 2 for Mumford.
This is like when we teamed up Goo Goo Dolls with Lemonheads or Toad the Wet Sprocket, whoever the fuck it was. I don't fucking care. Doesn't matter. It's not a tiebreaker, but I'm flipping a coin just because I don't give a fuck. So
no, you can't do that.
Nope, I can't. I cannot be asked to decide in this. Heads, Mumford and Sons. Tails, Imagine Dragons.
That's kind of where I was at with Nate, or kind of in the Nate department. I could go with either.
Mumford and Sons.
Mumford
there
and
you
Sons. Go. All right, so they've already. We don't even need to listen to Ramshackle Dan.
Well, I came home like a stone, and I fell heavy into your arms. These days of dust, which we've known, will blow away with this new sun. But I'll kneel down, wait for now. I'll kneel down, know my ground. and I will wait. I will wait for you.
I couldn't even tell you which band that is.
It doesn't matter, right? That's Nathan's
Right.
point. But
I can tell you which one it is because there's more than like 4 lyrics.
Yeah, exactly. No, Dave's right.
That's how
you would have given it away as
Mumford
Mumford & Sons if you were like, "Hey," or some stupid shit.
Imagine Dragons their songs are like one line of lyrics repeated over and over again to a drum.
Oh, it's great. You know what the pre-chorus for Thunder is?
What?
Ready, Jason? Thunder, 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 thun, thunder, thunder. No offense, Andy. Thunder, 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 thun, thunder, thunder, thunder. That's the pre-chorus for Thunder. That's like that song basically looks like it was manufactured for a pep rally.
And that's what they are, really.
Yeah. Every now and then I'll learn something from Dave. And the way he described the Imagine Dragons music as like just incomplete songs or like deleting pieces is really good because it doesn't sound like anything else, but it also doesn't sound complete, but it has its own sound. And it's a lot of echoes, a lot of large like bass, a lot of pauses, a lot of like just crescendos where you wouldn't normally have them, and just a lot of like epic parlor tricks, right? Just to make it seem, in the absence of actually writing like, you know, verse, chorus, solo or bridge, chorus, verse. It's just a lot of like pulling it away, pushing like hard, pulling it away. So I actually think that's at least innovative. While you guys truly hate it, it doesn't bother me that much just because it is schlock and it's very successful. So it's like kind of a human genome hack in a way, where Mumford & Sons it's just everything about it like viscerally bothers me, from their hair to their clothes to their songs to just that like faux, like you, Jason and Andy already covered it, just like that fake folksy hillbilly, but not really, even though I'm dressed in like, you know, fancy. They look like a Banana Republic catalog in this picture.
We roasted them for enough episodes. I'm more resentful of the slop, or not sloppy, it was because it's produced well, but all of the musicianship in Imagine Dragons is just merely on a production level. It's the same thing that made Milli Vanilli, and there's no real musicianship there. Whereas, granted, all of their horseshit costuming of their music, they can actually play. Because I'm more bothered by throwback thrash from young kids today. Like, even though I know I've met Municipal Waste and all those guys, and they're a cool band or whatever. But there's a lot of bands that followed in suit, playing throwback thrash metal to the 80s that are all like they weren't even born when the shit was around. And I have no problem with that, but it's when they want to look like it and kind of bring it all. It's like cosplay music, which is
fucking cosplay, yeah.
Yeah, it's cosplay music, which is just what Mumford & Sons is. So I resorted to more as a musician, as somebody who makes music. I don't like music that's popular, that's barely music in my mind. So that's why I Imagine Dragons.
It makes sense. No, and I really liked it because it made me listen to it through a different lens. And two things we learned from Mr. Reese. You probably learned a lot more. I got an F in the class.
He was our guitar teacher, Andy. That Ramshackle Dan and I had very different perspectives on. So go ahead.
So one thing he said, Dave, was music is sound and silence organized over time, right?
Yeah.
Controlled
sound and silence over time. That's what it was.
Yeah. And that's something that I can appreciate from what Imagine Dragons, or the producers of Imagine Dragons, did, is they figured out how to do that a little bit differently and popularize it. The other thing too is, one of the things I learned in that class is if I didn't like a song, I would listen to the drums, and if I didn't like the drums, I'd listen to the bass line. And I can just chill out. Like if you think about the old like 8-track or 4-track where you slice the tape lengthwise to like record the track, I would mentally in my mind, I listen to music sometimes that way, where I will just think of it more like a 4-track or an 8-track, and I'll just pick a track or two on there and I can zone out and listen to it. So for Imagine Dragons, and I have a small child, so Imagine Dragons is something that comes on the radio. It helps to actually listen for the production and just some of the isolated pieces. And so the only good that's actually come out of this entire tournament is a better way to listen to that, because I hadn't noticed what you were talking about because it's so omnipresent. So I thank you for that, and I vote for Mumford & Sons.
See, look at that, man. We're communicating. Isn't this good, man? We don't always have to argue. We can always make conversational love as well. All right, so that means Mumford and Sons move on to the finals. So now we are at the finals, and I wouldn't know who was on it, and I was not about to make all the combinations of backgrounds for this finals. That's just stupid. And so I made one little background for our finals of the bads. This is the finals of the bads.
Where did you find this picture of me, Dave?
Oh, whatever. Don't flatter yourself.
Oh, I used to look like that. About last year, I did.
It not. This is a very popular GIF.
I know.
Yeah, you know, it's from the ball game. Very, very
Right.
well-known guy. We are at the finals of the bads, and as we've just stated, our bads, our final two, are New Kids on the Block and Mumford and Sons. So that's a combination. You didn't have look at that yet. Check out the guns, everybody. Let them know. No, so
Now I got a hard on.
New Kids on the Block and Mumford and Sons.
yeah, Nick Jason.
Oh, I don't know, man.
You sounded like a Grateful Dead fan right there, all right?
That's rough. This is rough. So I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna go with my first thought. First thought, best thought. And I'm gonna say Mumford and Sons. Because New Kids on the Block, they were ultimately a flash in the pan. They didn't last very long because, they aged out, I guess, or something. But then now they're coming back. Yeah, whatever. They're coming back, but who knows if that's actually going to be any kind of success for them. But Mumford and Sons seem to be going strong. I imagine them. They have a future of like playing a lot of wineries, and like state fairs and shit. So I feel like they have more lasting appeal to a segment of the population that I don't really vibe with. So I'm going to say Mumford and Sons.
Right on. That's one for Mumford. I'm gonna go next to provide a little counter discussion to that because we've just learned New Kids are coming back, and who knows what the results of that'll be. They basically are the herpes of music because they've been gone for a while, and now they're rearing their ugly head right on the forefront of culture's lip, just blisters and all that shit, just reminding you that you fucked these dudes one point in time, and now they're it's rearing its ugly gross head again. Using the logic again from before, New Kids had no business being in this competition. New Kids do not play instruments. New Kids have had an effect on music that where people evolved it to where Imagine Dragons is basically a non-dancing New Kids on the Block with like a handful of instrumentalists in it, but there's you just put a few choreographed moves into Imagine Dragons, you get fucking modern day New Kids. They're the intent behind it and all that shit is all the same. And so when I look at Mumford and Sons, they can play instruments. That's just it. They can play instruments. They are an actual band, even if they don't have a drummer all the fucking time with a drum set up. But they can play. They can sing. They don't have to, do any fucking shenanigans. They do actually have to do shenanigans, but I don't know. It's really just New Kids on the Block are the worst of these two.
So the thing is that Mumford and Son can actually play instruments, but they're using that to playing a bunch of bullshit. So they're not good. They're not interesting, I don't think. When I hear about New Kids on the Block reuniting for a tour, I'm reminded of like Duran Duran releasing a new album in the 90s, and then going away. Same thing happened with Blondie and the Talking Heads, They just blip back up again and then disappear. They're not a constant irritant like Mumford and Sons are going to be, I think, they're going to pop up every 10 or 20 years and do a couple of shows and then disappear. So I don't think Mumford and Sons are going anywhere. And I'm still irritated by the fact that they aren't a product of their time. They're trying to sound like something else. So New Kids on the Block are going to kick out the same shit that they've always done. They're not going to update their sound at all because they're not responsible for the sound that they made, So they're just fucking carting whatever bullshit they were told to fucking do in front of people. So I don't know, I'm not as irritated by New Kids, I will hear them and I'll be like, oh yeah, that band sucks and move on. But I think that Mumford and Sons are going to be a presence within our life for a while, and like soundtracks and stuff like that, and commercials and in movies and shit. So I'm still going with Mumford and Sons. So
I'm going to use the disease analogy and say while New Kids are herpes, what Andy described is HIV for Mumford and Sons. You can live with it, but it's going to still be there to remind you.
I was going to go with colitis, but I mean,
that too.
You've never missed an opportunity to make an AIDS joke.
Exactly. Because being woke.
I'm kind of surprised all the members of New Kids on the Block are still alive. I feel like from a group like that, if there had been a behind the music on them, like it would have been like, in 1995, depressed that their fame had disappeared, Donnie overdosed on heroin, or there should have been someone from that fucking group who didn't make it to this point. But for some reason, all those guys are still out there and they're planning another tour. Makes no sense. But like I said earlier, they're not a band. I feel like they made it into this contest just on a joke that has gone on and on and on. Mumford and Sons, they're a competent bunch of guys who can play music, actually. And the fact that they're doing it poorly, I think, says a lot. New Kids, I wouldn't want to, I mean, I obviously wouldn't want to listen to either of these, but if I had to, fucking hell. I guess I'll go with Mumford and Sons. I think they are the worst of this pairing.
Man, I love it. You guys give us two back-to-back where we really don't have to listen to Ramshackle, Dan, to figure it out.
I know, but you're going to, and that's the beauty of it.
That really is a blessing in disguise. But let's go ahead. This was his brainchild, so let's let the culprit of Battle of the Bads give his final opinion.
Yeah, I really like the idea that they know better because they do play multiple instruments. And I was gonna make the argument that if that was a point in their favor, that I play multiple instruments and doesn't mean any of it's good. So, and the thing is, they know better and they could be doing something different. New Kids on the Block, they basically got an opportunity to make a lot of money because they were good looking kids and they could follow choreography and they could sing. And so, whatever, it is what it is and it has its own box. The thing about Mumford and Sons, and I guess you could say the same thing about Imagine Dragons, is it's more dangerous when you create your own box. In one way, it's like Imagine Dragons literally created their own box, or their producers did. To Andy's point, these guys appeared to create their own box, but they really didn't. They just co-opted a different style of music. They kind of Brooks Brothered themselves out. And then the key differentiator is it music that you would hear, and not just hear, but hear often on NPR. And Mumford and Sons is the type of music that someone would listen to, that if you said, oh, do you like Annie DeFranco? They'd be like, no, it's Ani. And that's the type of people who would fucking listen to New Kids on the Block. I mean, on Mumford and Sons. So that's that NPR factor.
That joke up, dude. So that was great.
I know, didn't I?
Yeah, perfect.
I had that fucking thing in the bag, and I
totally
my shoelace.
Yeah, premeditated, thought of on the toilet, and it bombed.
No, I thought of it while Andy was talking. You fucking jackass.
Well, I was just glad to see you trip over yourself.
I know, it was
Your
tragic. That was a fucking C+ B- joke, and I fucking.
It's not the joke. The joke was fine. It wasn't the joke. It was your delivery.
I know.
They saw it coming.
See, I know how to point the thumb, where you only know how to point the fingers. That's the difference.
I can point thumbs too, motherfucker. I just
I'm waiting for it. Too. It's been 30 years.
I'm glad it's just not me tripping over my words. So
thank you.
Oh no, dude! I just fucking stepped on my own dick and went face first into the fucking pavement.
We are inclusive here.
I thought it was funny. Don't fucking beat yourself up.
No,
I know. I just hold myself to a higher standard. Anyways, so long story short, I think it's the type of music, and then it's like the type of people who would listen to it, and I think that's where I was with the Grateful Dead. It's like what is it that really connects with you? And I think that's what really bothers me, is this shit connects with somebody. I don't think New Kids on the Block really connect with anything other than like a preteen libido. So I think that's the implications to humanity is where I'm landing on Mumford and Sons. So we can close the book on this fucking travesty once and for all. Here.
It's nice to see that you guys are New Kids fans. All four of you.
Everybody's always talking about who's on top.
I think people listen to the New Kids on the Block and have a good time. I don't think.
I think the four of you would. That's now that I'm learning a whole lot about my friends here. We have a loser, if you will.
Yes.
The ultimate Battle of the Bad. Jason, do you have the pen? You should have.
Oh God. This is going to take an edit. I got to find it. Buried him.
All right.
You know what's great is, Nathan, I think We Are the Champions. It's still work to play because it's a fucking brutal song.
Here it is. The winner, the
trophy.
The Your Awesome Thumbs Down pen goes to Mumford and Sons.
Fuck you.
With moving through, I don't know how many rounds that was. What is it, like 5 rounds, 5 different matchups of against all the horse shit, and they have managed to wait for us to get to the end, and they are the worst of the bad. So congratulations to Mumford and Sons, and we do not look forward to any more years of your being part of the culture. So
Gotta say, I didn't see that coming. Didn't think they'd take it all.
Want to thank our guest, Andy from Mortville Noise. Please check out mortvillenoise.bandcamp.com. Check out all of his bands. He has free downloads, and buy some fucking CDs.
Buy some fucking CDs.
Buy some fucking CDs, all right? He's got great music of all varieties and some terrible music, too, that's very entertaining. It's all kinds, and noise and just a variety of stuff. Check it out. My stuff's on there. My old band Woozor and my old comp that never got released, the Wolfman Records comp, is on there as well. And yeah, check out his videos. Follow him on follow Mortville Noise at Instagram and on TikTok, and check out some of his videos and stuff. And all right, that being said, all right, another great episode of Meaningful Times with Friends, with the friends here and special guest friend. Felt like he's been part of us the whole time.
Thanks for having me on. It's been great.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Very cool.
Oh yeah. All right. So I want to get this in before your phone dies. Nathan from Newark, Ramshackle Dan, Jason on location, Andy from Mortville. I'm Mean Dave. Thank you very much, everybody, and watch all these fucking episodes. If you're just watching this one and you enjoy it, go back, watch them all. Bring out the knives. We're the knife. We'll cut you. We'll fucking cut you, everybody. So, yeah, get the knives out, guys. Come on. Yeah, come on.
Put it up for it.
Started.
Leave it out.
We will cut a bitch. All right, you understand? You see what's up? All right.
Got a machete, bitches.
One-upping us. Not the way. It's what you can do with it.
Fucking size queen over there, man. Yeah. All right, we're out of here. Peace.